Hey there, y'all. This is Jack, and today we're discussing Lu Fengxian versus Qin Shi Huang, who is China's strongest warrior in Record of Ragnarok. All right, now this is okay. This is a very interesting one because Lu is established as the strongest human, while Qin Shi Huang is the king of where it all began, and they're both from China. So I figured, why not just pin these two against each other and see how it would go, how their fight would turn out, and let's see who's really China's strongest warrior. Because again, Lu Bu and Qin Shi Huang has pretty dang good feats between them two. And well, without further ado, let's just dive right into the review, shall we? Or not review, but versus battle. All right, we'll start with the Qin Shi Huang. Um, okay, Qin Shi Huang is a very interesting individual. One of my top tier favorite characters in all of Ragnarok. And let's just go over through his abilities and his skill sets and his weapons and stuff. Well, first of all, we all know that he has a blindfold. The reason is because, well, because anytime he sees someone take damage, is reflected on him. He doesn't actually receive the damage itself, but he does feel the actual pain on himself. So that's why he keeps the blindfold on, so that way he doesn't see it. So that's why it doesn't transfer to him. But to Shi Hung, when Hades remarks about it, like that's a pretty bad, unfortunate, and that you have that ability. And Shi Hung says, no, that's not unfortunate because with this ability, I'm able to see and feel how my people feel. So that's how I'm able to understand them. Pretty awesome, I'm not gonna lie. And yeah, let's just go over through his feats, shall we? With Qin Shi Hung having, holy cow, he's got great speed, strength, agility, and stamina. Man, yeah, Qin Shi Hung is no slouch in any of these regards, especially when you see him fighting up against Hades. Hades just there's a reason why he's the leader of the underworld. He single handedly took down a small army of Titans to cover his brother's back, so that way they wouldn't flank the Greek gods, and Hades alone stopped them from getting out of Tartarus. So yeah, that's a pretty good feat right there. Which Lu Bu does have something somewhat comparable to that through proxy of Thor. That later on we'll talk to him or talk to them. Even though I do believe it does seem like the Titans are stronger than Giants and Jotunheim. But again, we'll talk about that when we get to Lu Bu. And then Shin Shi Hung has his technique Chi Yu, where he's able to just access like five different like abilities that are like so freaking good. One, heavily hand of defense, Chi Yu armor form, where he's able to just block an attack and just literally use the momentum and just counter you with it. Very good, I gotta say. And then Mount Tai, Dragon Claw, Chi Yu, Spear form. Yeah, he's essentially able to use his attack, one of his fingers as a spear, and just essentially just stab you like a quick stab. Pretty dang good. Then Tortoso, Ripple, Chi Yu, crossbow form. Probably the most innovative one of all of his techniques, where he's able to blow a puff of air right at his opponent, and he can hit one of their chi spots, weakening them for just a moment, to where Shin Shi Hung is able to just counter them, use their own strength to weaken them, and just take them down and counter them hard. So again, really good. And then White Tiger, Crescent Moon, Chi Yu, halberd form, where he essentially uses his leg as essentially like a halberd and just comes down like with a massive hit. Hits Hades. Since Hades sliding against the ground, he had a big old chunk of meat missing on his arm. So again, very dangerous. And then Shi Hung, Yun Cut, Chi Yu, sword form, where he essentially gets his armor that he wears, his Volden on his chest, and turns into a sword, which is essentially like a last ditch attempt when he fought against Hades. That he needed to focus everything he can onto this one sword, so he's able to counter Hades. And even then, the sword wasn't really able to counter Hades. Only it was able to only counter with a mix of his crossbow and the sword, and a technique of Shinhan guard and Yun cut, Shiyu sword armor form, and boom, able to cut through Hades' weapon. His holy has incredibly powerful divine weapon. It's insane. And yeah, Qin Shi Hung is like a really really good fighter. He does a lot of impressive feats, I gotta say, and yeah, he's shown to have all incredible endurance and pain tolerance like crazy. And yes, all right, now let's go straight to Lubu Fengxian. Okay, Lubu again. Essentially, like when it comes to actual physical aspects, Lubu does seem to be somewhat a bit more superior to Qin Shi Huang. And I would definitely say of all the things for sure, like I could say 100% is definitely his I would say his more as physical capabilities, where he's able to withstand Thor's thunder, his strike, his hammer strike. Where Lubu didn't just block, parried and slashed Thor. So again, good on him, and also Lubu's reflexes when Thor threw the hammer, came by Lubu. Lubu dodged it immediately and just got out of the way. And his only fault in his entire fight was just he just continued to think he could just tank Thor's attacks, where Thor got it this time, just slammed it full power. Lubu blocked, and only his legs broke. So the limitations of the human body is the reason why Lubu lost that fight. If Lubu had a god's body, he would have killed Thor. Like he would have. Literally, probably any human you'd say, yeah, I could do that. So not fair. But yeah, Lubu, and then his main technique is the only real main technique you get is Sky Eater. But the only time he ever uses it, we only ever see him use it twice. Once when he first created it, and when he created it, he realized it was so strong, no, like he'll never be able to use it against anyone until after he died. Then he fought Thor. Then we see him using Sky Eater on Thor, which was again great. But in the end, Thor's hammer strike was more than enough to just shatter Lubu's weapon. And of course, that's a Lubu that was already damaged. So yeah, so who knows what an actual full power Sky Eater would have done. But I imagine if not the results, if not the same, then I probably assume that it would still go in Thor's favor. Just Thor probably would have been a bit more beaten up. But yeah, then now you might be saying, what about red hair? Red hair is an interesting factor. I'll talk about after I go through the how I believe this fight would go. I will go back and see how things would go with red hair. I do think red hair does make things quite a bit interesting. But yeah, as we go in now, it might seem unfair because Shinji Hung has all these amazing techniques, while Lubu just really has Sky Eater. But I think things do get interesting between these two. All right, so yeah, these two characters separated by birth over 200 years ago, both Chinese. So let's see, how does this fight go? All right, and if I believe these two are going to fight, I think it'd be similar to the arena, probably the same as Lubu and Thor or Qin Shi Huang and Hades, just a large arena, just clear, and just them two going to go at it. Now, I do believe the fight is going to proceed probably similar to how Lubu did with Thor. He'll just start walking up towards Thor, and Qin Shi Huang, being just that charismatic guy, would be very interesting. Like interesting on Wonderworld, Lubu's just like straight up walking to him, not like disrespect, but like this guy, like okay, yeah, this guy is I would think Qin Shi Huang would notice that yeah, Lubu, he's coming around, he's not taking me seriously. I don't think it's because of a disrespect. I just think that Lubu more than likely just probably doesn't think I'm gonna be able to do all that much. Then when Lubu does a strike, Qin Shi Huang would obviously use shield form, block it, send it right back at Lubu. The momentum, hitting Lubu, which would surprise Lubu. Lubu would be like, okay, now this is fun. And right there, I think Lubu would start immediately just going for an attacks. Now, Lubu, I could in this fight I could give him the benefit of the doubt of being physically stronger than Qin Shi Huang, just because I don't think physical strength is going to play much of a factor in for benefit of Lubu. The reason is because Qin Shi Huang has this really great feat where he killed Qi Yu, a demon god, with just his bare hands, with no divine weapon. Qi Yu fought him for 3 days and killed him. Yes, Qin Shi Huang was beat up, but remember, no divine weapon, just sheer martial arts. Killed him. So, pretty dang good here. But Lu Bu, I would say, is definitely a very very fast fighter, but Lu Bu isn't really he's not a tactical fighter whatsoever. He's more of a brute fighter. He just wants to have fun. He's like Kenpachi from Bleach, where he just wants to go in and have fun and just go at their opponent, right? Because Lu Bu does make a mistake in Ragnarok when he's fighting Thor and Thor drops his hammer. Lu Bu doesn't immediately go in for the kill. He just puts Thor on the defensive where he's just slashing at Thor. Thor is just kind of dodging the attacks. He's not immediately going in for he's just trying to finish it. It just seems like Lu Bu just wants to have fun. And I think in a moment like this, he would make the same mistake where he would continue going after Qin Shi Huang. Qin Shi Huang would obviously be like, yeah, fellow Chinaman, you're actually pretty good. You're pretty strong. It's a shame, that we're born so far apart. Because it would have been great to have met you. Because again, Qin Shi Huang is a great guy. How? And he would definitely make Lu Bu smiling because Lu Bu would have a great time for them two fighting each other. But of course, I I do think a lot of this fight's going to be happening with Lu Bu is just going to keep going. Shichiyo is going to keep throwing attacks at him. I don't think he's going to deliver massive damage. He's going to big old massive hits to him. But then Lu Bu's going to be like, all right, how about you try blocking this? And he'll actually go for the Sky Eater. And right there, I do think similarly it would happen the exact same thing when he's a Sky Eater and Shichiyo tries blocking it and he just kind of gets smashed into the ground. And right there, Lu Bu would just be watching with a smile because he knows Qin Shi Huang's not down. As Qin Shi Huang gets up, his blindfold falls off. He spits out blood, and he gets up and he's like, "All right, we're you ready to keep going?" And them too, I think right there, this is when Qin Shi Huang would start going for his spear technique and his crossbow technique and his halberd technique. Now, would he be able to hit Lu Bu? I believe so. The reason is because Lu Bu he takes tank. He attempts to tank any attack. So when Qin Shi Huang closes in the distance, Lu Bu would attack. Qin Shi Huang would just block and then go for a halberd, or if not, a crossbow, if not a spear. And Lu Bu has no defense against the crossbow at all whatsoever. He hits him, Lu Bu is gonna weaken, and Qin Shi Huang's gonna immediately attack him with halberd or spear. I honestly don't think Qin Shi Huang would even need to transform his armor into a sword. I honestly don't think that would ever happen in this fight. And I honestly think this fight would just continue going on as Qin Shi Huang just continues to wear down Lu Bu. I don't think Qin Shi Huang would have a technique that he would be forced to use to just immediately just end Lu Bu. No, he would just have to, just like he did with Hades with the sword. No, I think he's just gonna have to just chip away at his life until eventually Lu Bu's defeated. And I do think in the end, Qin Shi Huang would be victorious. I'm not gonna lie, no fault there. And yeah, I believe no matter what, Qin Shi Huang beats Lu Bu. And I think even if it's people controlling them, you could probably get Lu Bu to win by blitzing Qin Shi Huang. You could probably get Lu Bu to do that, but in the end, Qin Shi Huang still has way too much things going for him. Like let's say in the in character in a tournament, Qin Shi Huang versus Lu Bu, I sincerely believe Qin Shi Huang wins nine times out of 10. I just believe that's a fact because Qin Shi Huang has more techniques going for him. Yes, Lu Bu might be stronger. He may as well be because Thor took down all the Jotunheim giants by himself. He didn't even awaken his hammer Mjolnir at all. And then Hades took on the Titans in Tartarus, and he defeated them all by himself. The difference is Thor wasn't wounded, he wasn't even tired, he wasn't winded, his weapon didn't even wake up. Hades was wounded from the Titans. Now I get Titans, frozen giants. Which one's really stronger? That's debatable, to be honest. I would lean more towards the Titans just for the sheer fact that again they were in prison, they were in Tartarus, they were more likely involved in the Tetamartiki where they fought the gods. They lost and they got imprisoned. Versus the giants. Our giants are just monsters that just come once in a while to Asgard, to where they just have to be slain eventually versus Titans that literally had to be locked up because they could pose a threat. That's what I'm thinking. I'm not going for actual mythology because Record Ragnarok doesn't really, take all of that into consideration all that much. So I'm not going to do it. Um, but yeah, people controlling Lu Bu and Qin Shi Huang like any video game characters. I would say Qin Shi Huang still wins, probably more of a 6 to 7 out of 10. So to give Lu Bu a bit more chance. Now, bloodthirsty Lu Bu and Qin Shi Huang, that's interesting because bloodlusted, I do think Lu Bu would be able to do some more like Sky Eater techniques. But I think once you get one on Qin Shi Huang, I think Qin Shi Huang will see it coming, just essentially just dodge it because why not, or shoot him crossbow at Lu Bu to weaken him and then just counter him. But I would definitely say Lu Bu probably more likely win 7 times out of 10. Now, what about red hair and Lu Bu in character versus Qin Shi Huang? That's interesting. I gotta say, because obviously that's much more powerful, as we're led to believe, right? So if he slams Qin Shi Huang, I don't think that would kill him, but that would certainly screw him really, really bad. To where Qin Shi Huang would be far, far more damaged than Lu Bu normally using Sky Eater. So I would say again, that would just force Qin Shi Huang to take the fight way more serious, and actually probably make him go into sword form to just cut Lu Bu down. Honestly, he might actually be forced to use that to just take Lu Bu down as fast as possible at that point. So I would say actually probably would this be a high jump with red hair? Because it'll be Qin Shi Huang versus Lu Bu and red hair is actually capable of fighting, as we saw him try to fight Thor. Obviously, that didn't work out, but so I would say, man, probably a 7 out of 10. Honestly, I still think Qin Shi Huang would win. It would just be much tougher for him. But yeah, honestly, I know this is a short versus fight, but I do think Qin Shi Huang is the superior Chinese fighter, and yeah, he just has way more going for him. Lu Bu again, he's no slouch whatsoever. He's strong. He definitely earns the title of strongest human fighter, but when you're up against someone that just has many techniques that could counter or many of your own brute force attacks, yeah, I think Xu Zheng's just gonna take the victory. So yeah, that literally concludes my review of these versus fights. And yeah, if you guys listen this far, I appreciate it, and I hope you guys have a great day and take care. And if you want to see any more versus fights of characters that we know the fighting capacity of, let me know. I'd be curious to hear what you guys have to say about what you guys think I thought. You guys think I'm wrong? Please let me know also as well. And also, who else you like to hear me think who would win in a fight between. So anyway, that's all I got for you guys. You guys take care and have a good one.